what I've seen as far as, and I don't want to get going too into old school media, but what I've seen so far as the history of the newspaper and really the contentious relationship that exists between bloggers and social media and traditional media and journalists is, if you look at the timeline, especially newspaper, I believe that bloggers and social media represent originally what free speech was founded on. The pamphleteers, something that the founders, was something that the founders used to get their message across. Little, crackpots with their pamphlets and all different ones. And that to me represents the blogosphere. As far as the future of social media, it's a contentious one. I heard, and I'm glad Pointer said it. I'm glad Pointer said that people want a credible news source. I believe, and what I've found in blogging is that nothing is further from the truth. People want their own opinions reinforced. That's why we have Fox News. That's why we have. That's why we have my blog. Whether or not you're agreeing with me or you're disagreeing, it's how this guy proves every stereotype I've ever had about, guys who wear Casey baseball hats. That contentious relationship exists, and what I'm afraid of and what I see as the future, sites like Facebook, closed site, very, very hard to link out. They want everybody in the same congregation. So what I see with newspapers is us going from the pamphleteers to one newspaper towns, with one newspaper, with one corporate vision. What I see with the internet is a variety of bloggers and social media people putting out individual messages, and everyone wanting to aggregate that, because you only make money if you aggregate. Everybody wanting to collect that into one pot so they can make money. Sheeple, great internet term. Sheeple tend to follow that because they like the freedom that it gives them. But I think if we want to keep the spirit of the internet alive, we kind of see, I see more people kind of staying independent. Maybe thinking, Facebook is nice to push my content, but I only need it when I can use it. And I think I'd just like to see that user individualism, independence, liberty, freedom. I'd like to see that stay intact. I don't see it stand intact with YouTube or Facebook or Twitter.
Future of social media in the news. I've got a lot of thoughts about this. I've got even an idea that I'm going to run past you guys that I was just jotting down as we've been talking about this, and I don't know if this has even been thought of, but so I've actually talked a lot on my blog about can bloggers and journalists coexist? Because to me, the problem that I see is that you've got two sets of publishers that are just batting heads, and to me, it's just, I'm a friendly guy. So I'm like, why can't we all just get along, right? Like, we're all doing the same thing. We're all pushing out something that we think is relevant to some audience. Why is it that the two can't exist? I think what I struggle with is that me as Ramsey the blogger who doesn't get paid but has fun and likes to create content, what I don't have is access, and journalists do. What journalists don't have, if we want to talk about the real state of journalism and news, what journalists don't have is they don't know how to translate the message so it's relevant. And the bloggers know how to do it because they're real people and they're not put through this traditional system of here's how you publish news. The thing that, if I was starting a new news organization, I feel like I'm ranting, but if you're going to give me the mic. If I was starting a new news organization, I would hire a bunch of me's, because what happens is I talk to the KC Star and I'm saying these, I'm going to go cover this. Friends of mine who are at the KC Star, I talk about the angle that I'm going at because I think it's going to be interesting and people are actually going to find that relevant. And then they translate it in their lens, and I think, that sounds really boring. And I don't think I would watch that or read that. I'll give you an example. I went to the American Idol auditions. I know a lot of the stuff I cover is a little more fun because I like fun stuff. So when I was there, Ramsey the blogger had a $300 point-and-shoot camera that was shooting a video blog. And there are guys like that guy who's got, I don't know how much that is, like $10,000 worth of equipment. And we both had access, which was great. And I knew, though, going in there with my $300 piece of camera, equipment, I was going to capture what it was like to be there better than that guy would, because I was thinking through the lens of, well, I want to actually talk to the people and really get a sense for what it was like standing in line, or what it was like to actually be there in terms of the excitement. And I think, for whatever reason, the traditional sense has kind of been lost. the one other thing that I wanted to hit on in terms of my idea was, I didn't agree with the fact that this vetted, sourced news organizations must exist. In the age of Perez Hilton, who doesn't verify, whatever, but gets way more traffic than a lot of credible news organizations combined, and the fact that Tony exists in terms of our community, there is a need for unverified news because it's the rumor mill. It's age-old high school. Even though it hasn't been verified by the principal, people are going to still talk about it. So someone might as well be aggregating all of it because people want to consume it. My point is, and my idea is, perhaps, this is my idea, just wrote down, perhaps a news organization, when you're publishing a story, news and bloggers adopt a international, national system that badges verified sources. So you could still publish an article that says, hey, that plane went down, but there isn't a badge that says it's verified, and the badges, by the way, would be adopted on a system that would say, must have 3 sources. It would be an agreed community, open source badge system so that articles could still get pushed out, and news organizations wouldn't have to worry about, man, is our LA Times reputation ruined by publishing this? But if they don't have the badge on it, it's okay. So I guess my main point here is that unverified news, verified news, it's all still news and people still want it. I think systems like perhaps the idea that I have is maybe just the construct that we just have to shift a bit in order for that stuff to work. So.
Really quick, just 2 points. Sure. So level playing field for the bloggers, level playing field, and it's your reputation. So it's your credibility that's at stake. So how many times are you going to get, is anyone going to get burnt online? It's very rare that they're going to go back to a blogger that doesn't validate or states something that isn't actually valid. And I know Tony does this really well. He might not be able to state his source, but he's very strong. It's not a gut feel. When he is writing something, you know you can trust the source. And we have TV stations that go to Tony to validate issues that they've got or things that they have heard. So there is a truth to us being the pulse and us having the power, and it is a level playing field. I'm an optimistic, but those are the facts, guys. I'm not just saying that because that's my gut feel. It's the facts. We live it every day.
Shea, you want to say something? I don't really have a comment on it.
All right, if you all have any questions about this or anything else to do with social media and its responsibility or place in the community, or
Kansas person.
we'll start down here at the end.
Hi, I'm Chris Rogan.
Hello, Chris.
Chris Rogan from Boston. What makes the best of community happen? What do you do to make it a much more porous situation? Because all the storytelling that you just did was all within this little hole. How do you make the rest of the world just go, holy cow, Lawrence is amazing, Wichita is cool, Kansas City, Tony's already shattered all my stereotypes. I have to make new ones.
I think for Verb in particular, what we've really tried to do is reach outside of, because when we launched, everyone in sort of our local social media community knew about the site. But then it was how can we go beyond that? So, and again, it is very locally focused. So, my goal isn't to have like Verb Milwaukee, although we could. But we brought the local photography community together, and we started a group on Flickr where they can submit their photos, and we publish those every day. We have a daily stat. We feature a local photographer. We do a lot of contests on the site to promote local businesses and really get people outside of our circle involved, and it's really just grown from there. So I think that's been the big thing for us. I think going outside of that, the purpose is for it to be sort of insular, but I think the idea can work anywhere. And for us, it's not really bringing in outside communities so much as trying to get more of the local community participating.